Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the channel. So this is your girl's natural short thin hair. But today we are going to save my natural hair by doing a natural sew-in pixie cut without no relaxer, no glue, and no heat damage. So let's just jump right into it. All right, y'all, starting off with our braiding pattern, I'm going to be parting 3 braids in the back going straight across my neck. This is a very important step and very crucial part to get a flat base surface for your pixie cut. Starting from the right side, I'm going to start gripping my hair in the back. Now, my natural hair has always been this curly, it's always been short, and it's always been thin. So sometimes the struggle to grip it in the back can be real. But listen, you can definitely add some braiding hair if your hair is too short. But I have had numerous times of doing this style on my head, so I can easily try to grip my hair in the back now. Once I'm done with my first braid going across my neck, I'm going to go ahead and part my second braid. But I'm going to be starting my second braid from the left side, moving on to the right side because I don't want bulkiness with the back of my pixie cut. So I'm using my braided tail and joining it with the second braid from the left side and moving on and gripping to get to the right side. So once my second braid is completed, I'm going to go ahead and part my third braid. Like I said, I'm going to go part straight across and I'm going to start gripping my hair, but this time I'm going to go back to the left side and braid going to the right side. But when I'm gripping, like I said, I'm going to eliminate any bulkiness, so I'm adding my finished braided tail. I'm adding it to the next braid, which is the third braid, and I'm going to braid from the left side, moving on to the right side. This step is very crucial in getting a flat sew-in weave pixie cut. If you want your back of your pixie cut to be as flat as possible, this step is very crucial, and this braid has to be braided. These 3 braids has to be braided just like this for your sewing to lay flat in the back. You want this sewing to look as natural as possible because that's the goal. Once I finish braiding my 3 cornrows in the back, that is pretty much it for the back section. We're going to move on to the sides, and I'm going to do the exact 3 braids on each side, but this time I'm just going to braid straight back, stopping to where my 3 braids in the back stop. And like I said, I'm going to be joining my last braided tail with my next braid every time. Now, once I braid my cornrows, braids going back on each side of my hair, it's time to move on to the middle section. This time, I'm just doing the braids a little bit diagonal because I want the sew-in to fall directly on my face. So I braid diagonal and then get braiding and gripping till I get to the back, exactly where my 3rd braid stopped. And of course, I am adding my last braided tail to my next braid. All right, so after gripping my first little diagonal braid, I'm going to move on and do maybe about 3 more diagonal braids. Like I said, I want this part, which is the middle part, to fall directly onto my face. So I'm just going to grip it again form a diagonal angle, and then I just went ahead and braided everything going straight back. All right, so after braiding the three diagonal braids in the middle, that is it. The rest of the braids just went straight back, and I just grip each braid with my braided tail just to get a flat surface. And in the middle, you know how your pixie cut always have that little bump in the middle? Doing this braid this way, your middle part will automatically be bumpy, and that's a part that comes with all pixie cut. Okay, so this is pretty much my braiding pattern. We are ready to move on to the next step. And guess what? We got to add our weaving net. The weaving net is the second most crucial part to a flawless flat pixie cut. So get you your weaving net, and I love this one because it's a little bit softer than the other brand, and it lays flat and it's easy to do a sew in on. Now I did apply the weaving net like a inch or inch and a half away from my direct hairline. And then I'm just going to take my needle and thread, and I'm going to sew the weaving net on each braid. Once I sew the entire weaving net going around my head on each braid, I'm just going to grip it in the back, secure it, making sure that it's flat in the back. Go ahead and tack it down in the back, and then take my scissors and cut off the extra weaving net. All right, I'm moving on to our hair. This is the lady of the hour. We are using the Ultra Tara 27 piece. I believe this is the small size. She comes with three lengths in the pack, 1, 2, and 3. I got her from my local beauty supply store, and I think I paid $18, and I only used one pack. Starting off with my first track, using the longest length in a pack of hair, I'm going to double up my wefts. Using two wefts, I'm going to lay the first track down in a U shape going from the left ear to the right ear, and I'm going to lay it under my braids. And then I'm going to use my needle and grip from under my braid and grip the tracks, trying to sew as neat as possible, but I'm going to have a flat sewing by attaching the wefts underneath the braid. After securing my first U-shape track in the back, moving on to my sideburns, using the exact same double track, but instead I'm going to be cutting two pieces of the double track, and I'm going to attach it to the sides. These will serve as my sideburns. This is why I leave the extra 1 to 1.5 inches past my hairline, because I want this corner to sit directly at my ear part, because you can see my actual hairline is too close to my ear, and if I just sew the track directly on my hairline, it wouldn't fall exactly to where my sideburns supposed to be. This is why I leave the extra weaving net in front of my head, just so my sideburns can lay as natural and flawless close to my ear as possible. Now you can see directly where my natural hairline stop, and you can see where I secure my sideburns to the weaving net. This is why it's important, if you want this to look as natural as possible. You need the weaving net past your hairline a little bit more. So going in again with my double weft that's cut, we gonna move on and do the other side. After sewing my both sideburns down to my weaving net, once it's attached and it's secure, this is how it looks. It's extended from my natural hairline, and it sits directly on my sideburns. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the back and continue our full sew in using the second piece, and not the smallest piece, the second piece. And this time I'm not doubling the tracks. You can double up the track, but I figure if you do double up the tracks, the pixie will not look like a natural pixie or a relaxed pixie. It will look bulky. So for the rest of the entire sewing, I use one track only, and I sew them down as flat as possible, attaching it to the weaving net on my cornrows. This is a part that I have learned that it gives me a more natural looking pixie cut, not a bulky pixie cut, not a thick pixie cut. It makes my pixie cut looks like I had a relaxer, I had a press out, and it makes my pixie looks really, really flat and seamless. After completing the back section, we're gonna move on to the middle section, and I'm using the second layer or second length in the pack. And I'm going to go ahead using my thread and needle, and I'm only using one track at a time, and I'm going to secure the one track to my weaving net and continue doing the full sew in. After completing the back of the middle section, we're going to move on to the sides. Using double tracks on the side, I'm going to lay it down close to the sideburns, across, going directly to the back and meeting up with the rest of the sew in and attaching the back section. After sewing the parts that close to my ear on one side, I'm going to move on to the other sideburn and sew the tracks close to my ear again over my sideburns. And this is why I said I went over with my weaving net, because you can see my hairline is all the way back, but I can have a little bit more grip so that the hair falls to my face. Now, as I move up with my sew in, like you see, just like I did my slender diagonal braid, I'm going to start to frame around my face. So I'm attaching the tracks to my weaving net. And let me tell you, this method is also great if you don't have a lot of hair, or your hair is extremely thin in the front. They just help give you a little bit more grip with your weaving net. You can be able to secure your sewing and attach your sewing to your weaving net. So if you do not want to put too much tension on your natural hair, the weaving net is also an amazing way to have a flawless sewing without a lot of tension to your hair. Trust me, your sewing will be secure whether you have a lot of hair or you have very too little no hair to attach the weaving net to. Moving on to the front middle part, like I said, I want my hair to fall in my face. So continuing with the same length in the pack, which is the middle length or the second length in the pack, I am going to be sewing it diagonal, falling towards my face. This is the part I went ahead and did my braids diagonal, and you can see I'm using the weaving net to secure those tracks so that it lay directly on my face. After sewing the first track going round and everything is on my face, we're gonna move on now to the rest of the sewing. Going around, I'm going to keep adding single tracks and filling up the space, attaching it to the weaving net until I sew the entire middle section down. Now for the rest of the sewing, I'm just going to fast forward this part just so that it goes by quickly because it's so competitive. I'm just doing round, sewing the tracks down in a round circle until my hole starts to get smaller. And then once I get to the middle top, we going to try to close it up securely. Now we are at the top of this sew-in. We are almost done. This is the most hardest part to me personally, I think. But it's almost done, y'all, okay? Now it's two ways you can continue. Two ways you can do this part. You can continue sewing, or you can go ahead and use the closing piece that this hair pack comes with. And this is the closing piece. Do you see how natural this looks like if I was to relax my natural hair or press my natural hair out? This would be the exact length of my natural hair. So this was the type of look I was going for, a natural looking pixie cut. So it looks thin, but like I said, trust the process, okay? So I went ahead and took the nice closing piece that the hair comes with. I'm going to use my thread and needle and I'm going to sew it down in the middle to cover my entire sew in. So this sewing can be complete. It can look flawless even if somebody was to stand on top of my head. All right, y'all. So this is my completed full sew-in weave natural pixie cut. Moving on to cutting and styling. For this cutting and styling, you're gonna need some mousse. I'm almost out of this bottle, but I gotta grab another one. You're gonna need a small tooth comb. You're gonna need your razor comb, and then of course you're gonna need your pair of scissors. All right, starting off with our cutting, I like to apply a little bit of mousse, especially around the hairline before I go in with my scissors and my razor to cut. This just helps to remove some of the curls that the hair comes with already. After applying the mousse to the sides, I went ahead and applied more mousse to the back also. Once the mousse is applied to the back, I went in with my razor. Of course, I dropped my earring, so I put it on. Okay, now I'm just using my razor, and no, I cannot see in the back of my head. This a part that can be tedious, but with practice, the more you practice, the more you get better at it. I don't know if anybody can be extremely perfect on cutting their own hair, but you have to practice just to keep making yourself better, okay? So I just use my razor with my fingers and feeling on the hair, trying to measure the length that I think I want the razor to cut. This is how I shave off the back. After I razor down the back section, I went ahead and moved on to the sides, just to even out the sides a little bit more. And then I just trimmed down the baby, not the baby hair, just trimmed down my sideburns a little bit. I did not want my sideburns to look too short. I wanted a look where I have those sideburns that looks a little bit longer than the rest of the hair. So I did trim it off because right now it looks really long, but I did trim it off, but I made it a little bit longer than the rest of the hair. After cutting the entire hair, I did shape around my ear and then cut my sideburns a little bit more with the razor, okay? Using my mousse now, I'm going to mousse down the entire hair. I like to do this step one because it removes all the curls because I want to add my own curls for styling. So adding the mousse to the entire hair and slicking it down before we move on to styling. Once I moved the entire front part down, I went ahead and moved on to the back section and I applied the same amount of mousse to the entire back section, of course. Then I went ahead and combed it up. All right, so after moussing down the entire back section, I comb it out and smooth it out. Now I wanted to jazz the front up a little bit. Since I decided to go with a curly short pixie cut, I decided to give my edges or the front of my hairline a little curly look. So I just got creative and added a little bit more mousse, and I just did some side swoops, just making it look curly. So when I do the curls at the end after it's dry, like everything just blend together and it looks seamless. So this is just an extra step. If you're not used to doing your short hair like this, it might be a little hard for you. But like I said, practice makes perfect to achieve this type of jazzy up look in the front. Okay, so I just swoop my edges, giving me a little cute little curly um, sideburns or edges. Okay. After fixing my curly sideburns and giving my little side swoop, that was it. I went ahead and just combed the back down just to make sure that it's flat and molded down. So to get the complete flat look and waiting for the mousse to dry, I went ahead and applied some Cenex strips. These I picked them up from the beauty supply store. I just went ahead and wrapped the hair down just in front of it just to make sure that while it's drying down, the front curliness don't get messed up. This is why I use the neck scripts to mold the head down. Once my hair was completely wrapped, I went ahead and used my blow dryer to get it completely and fully dry. All right, so after sitting under my hooded dryer for about 30 minutes, my Pixie was fully and completely dry. So I wanted to show you guys once I took the Cenex wrap off how it looks after it was fully dry. And when I tell you I was so impressed of how my soup curly edges look, I was so excited, okay? So I went ahead and of course I did a full beat makeup to go with this pretty pixie cut. So now we're gonna move on to styling. Okay, you can definitely rock your pixie cut like this if you choose to, but I went ahead and added some curls. All right, so now for styling, we are going to be using my tiny flat iron, okay? I want to believe my iron is 1/3 inch. It's not even half an inch, it's very tiny. And I usually just buy it from my local beauty supply store, okay? It's very small and you can do any type of pixie cut with this size, especially if you're trying to get curls or you're trying to just make your pixie looks a little flatter. This curling flat iron works great for pixie cut. So using my rat tail comb, I'm going to be picking up the hair starting from the top of my head from the middle part. And I'm going to wrap the hair around the entire curling iron like I want to get some bomb curls, okay? Um, I'm going to do this step, and as I drop the curls, I'm going to use my other hand and make sure to lay the curls flat. This will ensure and you will see the desired effect of the curls that I'm going for. You can do a regular curly and just leave it curly on the top and it can form its own style of curls. But I wanted to go with this very like Betty Boop type of curly pixie cut. So that's why I'm curling the way I'm making the curls, and I want the curls to sit exactly in those round little circles because this just elevates your pixie cut. Like it turns into a regular flat haircut into a pretty soft girl haircut. All right, so now to continue this curls took a lot of time, so I'm just going to forward this part, but it's the same steps of each curl. I am just using the small curling iron, combing it up. I'm starting from the top and I'm just working my way down to the sides, and I'm going to do the same from the back. And like I said, I am using my other hand and repositioning the curls once the curls falls off the curling iron. This is what that is giving me and going to make me to achieve this pretty soft pixie cut. After curling the front part and the top, I was so impressed of how these curls look, and I was so excited. We move on down to the back, and I just went ahead and added the same type of curls. Like I said, I can't see in the back of my head, so whatever shape of curls I'm getting, I'm just feeling on it and thinking, it's perfect, okay? But once I did that, I was so happy and so impressed of how the curls turned out to be. After curling the entire back, I was so impressed. So I moved on to the front and I just used my curling iron, the exact curling iron, and I just add tiny little curls to the front of the hairstyle just to add little more curls to my wavy style that I made in the front. And I was so excited of how it looks after adding the little curls. After that, that is pretty much it, y'all. Look at this hairstyle. You cannot tell me I didn't get a relaxer. You cannot tell me I didn't get my hair cut. Do you guys see how natural these curls look? Do you guys see how natural my entire pixie cut look? This is a sew-in weave that I took my time, saved my coins, saved my hair, and I did this at home, okay? You can tell me I'm not rocking a new style. You can tell me I'm not rocking a new pixie cut. I was feeling myself. I was so excited that I took the time to achieve this gorgeous, natural looking pixie cut. Yes, girl, I got a perm, I got a relaxer, and I got my hair shaved, okay? I was so excited. So if you enjoyed this video, thank you so much for watching. As always, love you guys. I'll catch you in my next video. Bye.